All right. The recent public feud between gospel music sensation Mercy Chinwo, Mr. Easy, and now, additionally, we'll add Very Dark Man, has sparked intense debate and raised fundamental questions about accountability, trust, and integrity of the Christian body. As allegations and counter-allegations fly back and forth, one question remains: is this a genuine pursuit of truth and transparency, or a calculated attack on the body of Christ and its leadership, or a record label, as some have alleged? So in tonight's conversation, we'll delve into the complexities and the situation and explore what the implications will be for the Christian community. It's another beautiful episode on What Are You Saying, Ways? And my name remains Osaiwame Sally, and today I want to just turn our attention to, yes, the intense conversation that is going on social media, still on Mercy Chinwo, and this time around with a twist: Very Dark Man, no longer Mr. Easy. I think Very Dark Man has taken it upon himself to be the voice of Mr. Easy and, fight for justice, All right, so remember, Ways is all about you. You are the why in Ways, so be a part of the conversations every single day and add your voice to the discussion. Head on to our YouTube channel right now and hit that subscribe button. Like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the show. And when I open my phone lines, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I mean, if you're a Mercy Chinwo fan, if you're a Mr. Easy fan, what your submission is on the conversation, right? I would love to hear your thoughts on the topic. As always, let's ponder on my quote for the day. It says, missions is not about sending missionaries, and missions is not about doing missions. Mission is about the communication of truth to men. I think in everything that we're thinking about, when you look at the ideology behind Christianity, it is just, being intentional about speaking the truth of the gospel to men. So whatever it is, however medium you want to use that, you can do that. All right, so we'll delve into the conversation much later, but first I'm off on a break. When I come back, I'll let you in on my news interest for the day. Stay with me. All right, before I go into the news for today, it's important to note that today is, World Cancer Day. And of course, the theme for this year is Fighting Cancer Together, Awareness and Action. So in light of this, tomorrow we'll be discussing cancer. And of course, we look forward to getting a good expert to then help us, break down that conversation. If you're going through cancer or you know someone going through cancer, please send our love to that person. Yeah, that's it for today. All right, so I'll start the conversation. Every time I see NLC chairperson come to speak, I just feel like, for some reason, I feel very disconnected, because I know that this person, or these persons, right, they are intentionally not embracing what the realities are. There are some demands you just cannot make. But yeah, they were supposed to go on strike, and they've shelved the strike, and where's that story now? They've shelved the strike. I knew that was not going to happen, because, again, every single time we keep on hearing issues around, that they want to go on a nationwide strike to halt this, to halt that, and in this case, it was because they wanted to halt, the tariff hike for telcos. If we really want to break down what the telcos are fighting for, you would clearly know that the cost of everything has gone up. I mean, there's electricity tariff, there's so many tariffs. So I just feel like if we want to start this journey of fighting for, say we want to go on strike because of tariff hike, trust me, the list will be endless, because electricity is there, the petrol is there, the, education is there, there's also telcos. I feel if we are intentional about, what's the word I'm looking for now, finding a holistic solution to some of our challenges, then yes, we might just be really now ready for us to come out of this, dicey situation that we are when it comes to our economy. So that's the first story I found for today. Then the second story I'll take on would be that INEC is to pay 1.12 billion to family of the man that was killed by the driver. So the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered that the independent National Electoral Commission would pay about 1.12 billion in compensation to the family of one Mike Madu, who was killed by an INEC driver in Imo State. So this was judgment was served by Justice Inyang Ekwo. He said that INEC would pay the 1.12% with a 10% interest per annum from the date of the judgment until the final or full payment is made. And in addition, the judge ordered INEC, its chairman, Professor Yakubu Mahmood, and other defendants to send a letter of condolence to the late family. An order is thereby made for the defendant to pay the cost prosecuting this action, and this shall be, of course, the judgment that was served by the justice. So if you recall the story, on the 10th of September 2019, the deceased, now decided to take, legal actions. It was said that the driver under the office of the National Commission was responsible for the fatal accident that claimed Mike's life. He was a successful businessman, and, he lived in Imo State. So I'm happy that they took the case to court, and I'm happy that, they found justice, but I don't know how they are going to cough out 1.12 billion. Yeah. So that they said, when I talk about all these police escorts, so let me just read this portion. It says the Toyota occupied by Abdul and a police escort, Sergeant Usman Abdullahi, they lost control and swerved into opposite lanes and crashed into the Lexus in a head-on collision. So that was how Mr. Mike had lost his life. So yeah, I'm happy for the family, and I'm hoping that INEC will be able to uphold this judgment and then, of course, make the necessary payments to the family. My final story, I would say that the federal government has approved 100 billion naira. Right? Approves $100 billion rather, sorry, apologies. Federal government tourism infrastructure corporation to boost GDP by $100 billion. So they've approved certain infrastructures. This entity would operate under the public-private partnership model to develop its creative and tourism industry and add $100 billion to the country's GDP. The Minister, of course, for Art, Culture and Tourism and the Creative Economy, Hanatu, disclosed this to State House correspondent at the end of the first Federal Executive Council meeting of the year. So apparently, it's actually them boosting the economy with $100 billion, not that they are actually, approving. Yeah. So yeah, we are looking forward to this. But I just want to know how this will be disbursed, because part of what had happened in the past, especially within the creative sector, right? Because most times they say, oh, we have now engaged with development partners, key and stakeholders all over the world in this discussion to develop innovative infrastructure development and financing approach. I always say that, especially within the creative sector, we've had complaints because, I'm in this sector. And, when you try to access certain kinds of funds, they will tell you that, past funding that they had, given to creatives, nothing really meaningful came out of it. So I don't know how this is going to work. But they say that at least 2 million jobs, specifically for younger demographic, would be generated with this, with this initiative. I'm going to look deeply into this because this is something that, if it is well thought through and implemented, would really boost the economy, because I've always said that we have a very boisterous young population, right? And this population, if you look at most young people, They are very like tech savvy. They are social media, very like engaged in social media and all of that. And with the growing economy within the content creation space, it is actually a very good opportunity to start to make a lot of young people self-sufficient. So they don't have to struggle. You're not giving them fish. Instead, you're empowering them to be able to, generate income for themselves and become self-sufficient, becoming content creators, becoming, different things, filmmakers and all of that. Like literally there are opportunities within that sector. And some people are doing amazing content using their phones. So that market is growing. There's a figure now, but I can't remember the exact figure in my head, but the content creation industry is a big deal right now, and it's going to get bigger and better. So we need to be intentional. So, of course, they're using examples like the Dirty December festivals in Lagos to illustrate the impact of better facilities that could help in showcasing Nigerian creative sector, which is very true, because if you look at it, if you check the numbers, right, there's so much that is happening, especially during December. There's so much that happened last year. A lot of people are here, have already pre-booked their venues, their hotels and everything. They've pre-booked a year ahead just to be in Lagos for Dirty December. And of course, she then also highlighted the fact that abundant talent and content, there is abundant talent and content, and the sector has a potential, and it would, of course, if proper infrastructures are put in place, then it would definitely boost the economy and also the growth for that sector. I actually agree with you 100%. So several proposed budgets that were listed in this development would be the...
This season on Heartlands, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives. So Heartlands, in partnership with Reda Consult, is offering 12 free slots of counseling every quarter for people in need of professional counseling. Additionally, we're taking on 2 pro bono cases for individuals navigating a challenging divorce. To participate, please send an email to counsel@vedaconsult.com with your story. Our team will carefully review all submissions and will contact all the shortlisted candidates. Heartlands is live Mondays to Fridays at 10 p.m, so engage with us.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly say that Heartlines is actually a show that will help people that are dealing with, different issues. So please, if you have anyone struggling, emotionally, we've had amazing team of counselors that have volunteered their time for going through that stuff. So please, handheld to go through the process. You don't have to walk alone when you're going through stuff. All right, so now the controversy surrounding Mercy Chinwo and Mr. Easy revolves around allegations of threats, defamation, and financial misconduct. Now, in January of 2025, Mercy Chinwo accused her former manager, Easy Concept, of these wrongdoings. To understand the context, right, let's take a step back, So, go back. Mercy Chinwo had her history. She was signed to Easy Concept in 2017. During her time with the record label, she released several successful gospel songs and albums, becoming a prominent figure in the Nigerian gospel music scene. The relationship between Mercy Chinwo and Easy Concept apparently turned lost for words, right? So let's just
This email was sent on the 21st of March 2023. This was where the whole wahala started. Now, this is the heading of the letter. Notice of breach of contract and infringement of copyright. It's self-explanatory. So what happened was that Mercy Chinwo was going behind the record label to go and collect shows. She was collecting gigs and she was not remitting money to the record label. She was collecting money, going for different shows behind the record label and behind the agreement. And when the record label found out, they sent her this email, and it is self-explanatory that they will hold her royalties until they come together and sit down and go back to what is on the drawing board. Because they left EFCC in Lagos, where the both of them were staying. They now took the case to Ilorin. Now, are you getting the point? Now, they sat down. They now told the guy to write statements. I will call the IPO's name, make it not be as if they hide it. The IPO is Stanley Ojilobo of EFCC in Ilorin, which this case must be investigated further. Now, Stanley was now forcing Easy that he must write statements of what Stanley, the IPO, is telling him to write. That was where another problem started. Then the Easy guy said he was not going to write.
So, you know, I always like to be fair in whatever it is that I do, because I remember that I had spoken in fact, I dedicated my What's in the News to just talk about Mercy Chinwo's video. If you remember that video, I don't know how many people saw that video. In case you have forgotten, do you want me to show you the video again? Okay, so I'll call that video very soon. But that was, you know, that was her story. And prior to that time, I had seen different stories flying around on social media to then talk about, what's it called? That's Mr. Easy's side of the story. Up until that time, she had not spoken. So by the time she spoke, it really then looked like, you know, this was really something, you know, to talk about. But when I then saw this video today, right, it begs a lot of questions, right? Because now, is the conversation around Mercy Chinwo, Mr. Easy, is it a factor that is exposing the truth? Or are Mercy Chinwo's allegation against the Easy concept, you know, could it be seen as an attempt to expose wrongdoings or unethical behavior? You know, that's from Mercy Chinwo's side, because her allegations were threats that he was going to end her career, threats that he was going to, what's it called? You know what? Let us play back that video, because I think these things now, these days, we just go with the evidence that we can find online. If we can pull back Mercy Chinwo's video, let us just listen to that for a minute, then I'll be right back.
A man said I sued him, came online, made videos to tarnish my image. He looked at me and said, I made you who you are and I will destroy you. I became scared of my life. It got to a point where I had to move from Lagos to Port Harcourt because this man made the environment toxic for me. I've endured bully, I've endured threats. Whatever he's doing on social media now is nothing compared to what I went through. This is not to paint him bad. He took me to court, came online to tell the public that I took him to court. Here are the documents. You took myself and Minister Judike to court. And you're here playing the victim game. You bullied me, you threatened my life, you said you made me who I am and that you would destroy me. When you were the same person, how many lawyers have you changed now? Because you said you're going to deal with me, you have connections, you have money. What did I do? What have I 2019 royalties for 2 years? You're an oppressor. One of my major crimes was when I did a song with Pastor Nathaniel Bassi. Because this man hates Pastor Nathaniel Bassi, you went...
So now, based on Very Dark Man's video, because from his allegations, he said the video that he even put on, on YouTube, was actually removed from the video because he brought in a lot of evidences, he brought in so many things.